One thing you can't deny is how valuable a service like Game Pass is. For the longest time, there's been conversations about this subscription service and how it kills the gaming industry and all of that, while at the same time, the real killer of the gaming industry, which is money having third party games, has been slowly creeping its way to pretty much cause a lot of video games to actually not sell because they also cannibalize sales just by design. I mean, think about Sean Layden's comment where he said that the biggest Achilles heel to an exclusive game is if the game is, basically segregated from a large portion of the market. So basically, you reduce your addressable market. So just yesterday, I was talking about, the exclusivity dying and all of that stuff. And I actually fired up Game Pass because I had seen some announcements that Sifu may have been coming to Game Pass. And I didn't even think that, man, they were serious about it. But believe you me, when I opened up Game Pass, I saw that the game was there. So I immediately downloaded it and I played like the first 10 to 20 minutes, actually 22 minutes exactly of the game. And immediately I played that 20 minutes. I was already in because it was one game that a lot of people have told me, hey, you're probably going to like this game if you actually give it a chance. And so I was like, all right, I guess at this point I probably will. The reason I just didn't buy it was because it just fell off my radar. I've been looking at it for a while, but there are other games to play as well. And so the game is now on Game Pass. And one of the more interesting things that you will realize is that, the Game Pass service is very interesting at the end of the day. And no one is even bothering to talk about all of those so-called issues that they had. And then when you even come on top and, show some of these subscription services and what it is they do, I've been seeing some comments, or I guess one of my audience members has been laying out some comments saying that Ubisoft Plus was the problem with, Star Wars Outlaws. And I failed to see that as, an issue with sales because the analysts that usually in these companies would have already, assessed what it would cost them if a certain amount of people were to, go ahead and subscribe for their subscription service, or if a certain amount of people would have bought them. I think Outlaws faced severe issues simply because, Ubisoft subscription service has been a thing since around 2020 when Valhalla came out. And I remember playing Valhalla on the Ubisoft Plus service. I didn't play it too long. I just played a little bit of it and I was like, okay, this game is not vibing with me, and I unsubscribed. I also remember playing Ghost Recon Breakpoint, yes, with the service before I then eventually went ahead and got myself a copy or something like that. And since then, there have been many other releases from Ubisoft's, coffers, and they all did well. I think the reason a lot more people subscribed, if you were, I guess I won't say subscribe, but the reason people like David Haffey was saying, or Jaffe, I think that's how you say his name, that people should probably consider using Ubisoft Plus when they were playing the Star Wars game was simply because he first said that he wasn't too impressed about the game. I remember where he gave his first initial impressions, where the statements he made were very brutal. He eventually came around and kind of was like, softening the blows he had dealt, but he dealt some serious blows. He said, this game screams of, I just came here to get a paycheck. That's literally one of the things that he said. I was very surprised when he actually said that, because I was like, wow, that's insane that, he actually went that direction in that regard. So, when you actually go ahead and you think about, how a lot of this stuff, comes into play, I think at the end of the day, Game Pass really does have a spot in the industry and the value that it does provide. And for me, I think, it's a viable subscription service. It's cost on PC. I think PC is still the best, option because they realize that, they're going to need this audience. But for some reason, because people are locked into the console ecosystem, you get an extra charge, which I just can't wrap my mind around. And so I canceled Ultimate. And I'm basically sitting here, playing, just using Game Pass PC, which is a very small fee when you actually account for the amount of games that you have. So let's go ahead and look at their last few offerings. I think that's probably something that would be of tantamount importance, and just talk a little bit with them. Some of these games I'm not going to touch, like, I don't know what the heck is this. Some of these games are really childish games. And when I say childish games, guys, I don't mean to, say that indie games are bad. No, there are indie games that are good. Obviously, Sifu was kind of a, double A-ish game in a sense, but there are some indie titles like The Ascent that have already also come on here, and some really good games that you can basically say, okay, these are titles that you want to probably go ahead and play. Then you have a lot of the, games from the Persona developers that are actually showing up here as well, and then the Activision game. And all in all, I think the big, games that are being put in front of everybody, are the games that are going to be coming, pretty soon, which are kind of big names. Bethesda's Indiana Jones. Then you see Flight Simulator. That's also a big name. Believe it or not, it's a game that many people play. I'm talking people will set up builds and set up all kinds of all kinds of stuff to play Flight Simulator. And then Call of Duty, that comes out next month. It's the one that's chasing everybody away. I think even Microsoft faces the risk of cannibalizing Indiana Jones, seeing that both games are coming out back to back. But Indiana Jones is actually set or positioned in a way to leverage that holiday fever. And I think that's probably where they're going to be able to make their money. And then they're also bringing this to PlayStation as well, which is very convenient for them because sales are a big deal. But overall, just this, package alone for Game Pass, for just the Q4 is, in my opinion, worth every penny. And that's not even including everything that has shown up this year, and even some really good, I would say sleepers that have been in the ecosystem, that have been in conversations for a very long time. But let me hear your thoughts in the comment section. I really do appreciate you guys' time and audience. The Game Pass phenomenon is something that even PlayStation themselves have talked about, how this is a problem for them. It's a threat. And the biggest threat is coming on the 25th. And so hopefully we'll all be here to see what its impact looks like. And, we'll see if PlayStation's, I would say how it evaluated it. We'll see if it was actually something that was worth them being worried about, or maybe it's nothing for them to worry about. But having seen how Concord went, having seen how, their other games are being looked at, because those games, Fair Games hasn't come out, Marathon hasn't come out, and people are already looking at those games and going, we want single player games. The expectations that they've set is what's probably, in a sense, holding them back. So it feels like they're fighting with one hand behind their back, because they've set the expectations that we're going to be bringing you all these high quality single player games. Xbox has not set those expectations at all, and it probably feels like it will never meet those expectations. So its goal in terms of just providing a strong service and, being able to garner gamers into its ecosystem is at its focus. And I think that frees them to just do what it is that they think they want to do. So thanks for watching the video once again. Like I said, chat with me in the comment section. Hopefully we'll talk pretty soon in another one. Peace out.